Hey guys, Jeff here with Ghost Knight Gaming, and welcome back to From Console to Screen. We're back with another video game movie review, and this time we are reviewing the 2005 release of Doom. This movie starred The Rock and Karl Urban, and features a couple of interesting twists on their view of the Doom games. So let's lock and load, and let's get ready to take a look. Alright, let's take a look at the story. The Doom movie came out about a year after Doom 3, and a lot of the story seems very reminiscent of what they were trying to do with Doom 3, creating a survival horror atmosphere as opposed to a run-and-gun action flick that you would have gotten from the first and the second Doom. In the story, we have The Rock leading a group called the RRTS that have been dispatched to a UAC facility on Mars where strange things have been happening and they have come to investigate. A lot of the military characters in this really feel off-putting. You know, they don't seem very cohesive as a unit. The character taglines are really weird, and it's really hard to like a lot of these characters as we get through and are introduced to them, as some of them just really seem like the worst kind of soldiers you'd want doing a job for you. They seem very unprofessional, and it really feels really weird. As the story goes, it starts feeling okay, this is kind of Doom, but then because it deviates so much into this survival horror, you don't really feel like they're these Marines that you expect from the original Doom and Doom 2. It does fit a bit more if you use the context that it's similar to Doom 3 and the kind of horror aspect of there. Though, to be fair, they at least have flashlights on their weapons. You'd have to get a mod to be able to do it in Doom 3. As the story progresses, we discover that one of the members, his sister, was up on this dig site, and that they've been researching these ancient civilizations that existed on Mars who knows how long ago. It starts getting really weird and very strange, and definitely not very Doom-like when it's discovered that the creatures that they're discovering here aren't demons from hell or anything like that, but mutated members of the science team after genetics experiments that they discovered from these digs. It all gets very weird and just kind of what the as you get further on. One of the things that is not very clear on it is the first part of the movie spends a lot of time focusing on both The Rock's character Sarge and Karl Urban's character Reaper, who they really had to go with the joke name because his last name is Grimm. Oh, the guy named Grimm Reaper, really? Even his character that is his sister makes the comment on it too. What the hell? But it's really hard to tell who really is our Doom guy early on. But as it starts to progress, you start seeing, it kind of lean more towards Karl Urban's character, though it takes a while for us to really see that. As we get further in, we discover that the reason certain people were corrupted and others are just outright killed is because the uh, 24th chromosome that they find, or whatever's used to make people superhuman, can kind of manipulate whether it's, you know what, I can't even really explain it. Essentially, if somebody's evil, these things want them, but if they're not evil, they just kill them. It's weird. It's weird. It's not demons from hell. It's not searching for demon power or anything like that. It's just a genetic disposition for evil is the reason people turn into crazy monsters. All in all, I really, it starts out feeling Doom 3 like, and then it goes downhill. We're going to give this one a rank B. It's made sense at the start. The characters aren't the most likable, and the progressing towards the end steadily gets down a descent of madness that really doesn't carry well into the story. So next up, we're going to take a look at the costumes. Now, with the Doom game, if you look at it, there's not really much in the way of costuming that we're really looking for. It would actually probably look really ridiculous if every one of our Marines was dressed like the old school Doom guy, and the Doom guy from Doom 3 is really just a guy in Marine gear. So as a whole, their military gear looks on point. Weaponry is okay. I'm pretty certain they did take some effort to make some of the weapons look like they did in the game, like the BFG. But beyond that, there's not really much I can really say here or there about the costuming, because there really wasn't any iconic costuming early on that wouldn't have looked ridiculous on screen. Maybe the most recent Doom guy, that'd be a little bit different story. We'd like to see the Doom guy dressed up like that, but other than that, there's not really much I can say on this one. So we're going to rank this one at an A because at least the military gear looks okay. All right, so next up is the special effects. So looking at this one, once again, this is 2005, so we're still actually fairly early on as far as CG animation goes. So, and the game or the movie itself actually doesn't use a lot of CG. Some of the weapon effects and some of the creature effects are CG, and of course, dealing with the arc and the teleportation method that they have, there's a certain amount of CG involved there. But a good chunk of the creature work is all done by actual actors and animatronic work, which is actually really well done. As a whole, the creatures look fairly believable. We only really see three or four iconic Doom creatures in this. We have the Baron, we have the Imp, we have the Zombie or the mutated Marine and stuff like that, and Pinky. Now, Pinky, if we look at the story for what Pinky is and what he becomes and how they show up in the game and the difference between them, it's really funny and really weird. If you're familiar with the Doom game, as soon as the one computer guy introduces himself as Pinky, you're like, we know what you're going to become. We know. And it took a while for him to get there, but he got him there. The other interesting thing about the effects is actually the first person mode that they do near the end when Karl Urban is given the last chromosome, and his sister's all, you're not going to be turned into a monster, and he becomes the super marine, our Doom guy. Near the end, the first person bit is actually quite interesting. It maybe is not the most impressive first person bits we've seen. There are several other movies later that do first person action, and they do it very well. But when you look at the time and look at what they were trying a little bit differently with it, it actually feels really good. It's got that right motion, the character's moving right, and they get the right camera angles for it to make it look really cool. So as a whole, their special effects, I would actually give them an A. There was the first person mode, I think, was really entertaining. Honestly, I think it was the best part of the movie as a whole. And a lot of the creature effects were quite well done. I found some of the camera work a little weird, and some of the angle choices seemed a little off, but I think they were trying to use more survival horror kind of filming techniques for it, and I think that's what affected it in a lot of cases. All right, so let's look at the source accuracy for the Doom movie. So some of the stuff is okay. I mean, obviously, UAC is as evil corporation as they are in the games, doing whatever they can to do the things they do, whatever they're involved with. For an airspace corporation or whatever, they deal with a lot of weird stuff. So that one's okay. That one's on point. Some of the weapon designs are good, like the BFG. You look at some of the designs for the BFG, that one is right on. Creature designs, obviously some of the previous looks at some of these creatures were very different, but still, you could recognize an Imp. You could recognize, Pinky and that kind of stuff for what it was, especially if you'd played Doom 3 just before seeing this movie. That being said, that's where everything goes off rails. I mean, yes, they're on Mars, but there's no, yeah, they make references to this place is hell and stuff like that, and all evil stuff. But as soon as you get into the plot where it's just the penchant for somebody's ability to be evil is the reason these guys mutated, Okay, so that's where it's completely off. Um, we don't really know a lot. We never really knew a lot about the Doom guy. The most recent games have given him more backstory and more reason why he is the way he is, but it was a lot of fairly bare bones to begin with. So our introduction to the Doom guy is not really something we're necessarily worried about. Um, but yeah, so as far as accuracy goes, I mean, the earlier first-person shooters didn't really have much for that. So we didn't have to worry about accuracy other than do the creatures kind of look like it. We didn't get a lot of the creatures. There was no real actual portal to hell or anything like that. So, not the more obscure demonic creatures like cacodemons and stuff like that. But yeah, it kind of falls off the rails after a certain point. It's Doom in name in a lot of cases, and that's about it. So as a whole, we're going to give this a C. They've got the names in the right places, but it starts getting diverging really, really quick. And especially, going really survival horror, even further than Doom 3 did. And, Creatures from Hell. So finally, was this movie fun? So, as a whole, it was okay. It was trying really hard, I think, to be a 90s action flick in the 2000s, but also being a survival horror. So it didn't really know where it wanted to be with a lot of that kind of stuff. There was a lot of, especially if you watch the unrated edition, there's some really needless sexualization that really made no sense. The characters a lot of times made it hard to really enjoy some of the stuff was going on. We've got a very crazy, one guy is just a depraved individual, very religious and fanatical kind of fella. He's not a terrible guy. Some really weird fight scenes. Honestly, the funnest part about this movie is the first person mode at the end of the flick. Even some of the Rock's cheesy, big actiony lines just he's a great guy. He's great to watch on screen, but even that didn't help. Even Karl Urban's playing of his character, he was very much the straight man to a lot of the stuff that was happening around him. But even their efforts really couldn't make this more than kind of passably enjoyable. It's worth checking out if you just want to see the first person mode. It'd be worth checking out just to see what they did with that and kind of seeing where they went away from it and the efforts they did try to take. I think they really wanted to make a good Doom movie, but it just fell a little short. So, fun factor, the only thing that really saves it is the first person mode. I'm going to give this a B. All right, time to take a look at the final score. So after we look at everything, our final score for Doom, the movie, is a B. The first person mode is interesting enough. There really didn't have anything they could really screw up costume-wise. The monster design was excellent, but the story and its grasp on the actual Doom franchise itself felt weak and it fell really short of what people were probably hoping for with a Doom movie. And we just didn't quite get enough Doom, but we got a whole lot of survival horror military action flick. So maybe if it wasn't a Doom movie, it would have been a passable B movie. But with the name like Doom and everything that kind of rides in therein, and the effort they seem to put into trying to make this a Doom movie, it's just really disappointing at how short it fell off the mark, and how disappointing it was to see that it just didn't quite get there. Hopefully, the next time we see the Doom guy, he gets a much better screening. But at least for now, I think the Minions of Hell won this one. Thank you, everybody that joined us for watching this review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of the movie down below. Also, if you have any suggestions of video game movies that I have yet to review, to check down below. I've got a list, but I don't know if I got everything on that list. So add them into the comments below. That way I know what other stuff to check off and make sure I've done. And of course, just in case, check the playlist at the end of the video to see what other movie reviews I've already done and what movie reviews will be coming up. throw in that subscription, hit that like button if you enjoyed this, and yeah, I'll see you guys again next time for another From Console to Screen movie review. Have fun, keep gaming, and I'll see you guys again next time.